you ever heard people say or someone say, I don't have time for this nonsense? Or maybe they just go and say, I don't have time for this. You know, I need it done now. I don't have the time for what you're talking about. You see, I've come to realize that time and our capacity or our ability to wait or even be calm in a situation, they're related. When you don't have time, when you think or you perceive or you feel that you do not have time, you are impatient. You become impatient in that situation. You want it done right now. I don't have the time. But check, but see, if you think or you perceive that you have time, guess what? You are relaxed. You are not in a hurry. And so I'm challenging you whenever you think you're becoming impatient, you think you want to cut corners, you don't want to follow through. We need to begin to ask ourselves, am I perceiving that I do not have time? Let me illustrate. If by the time you get to your house, maybe after watching this video, and you probably see a bill of, say, $1,000 waiting for you, anything, and you're probably a 9 to 5, you go to work, you come back, you get paid and all of that. And then you probably, maybe at the end of the month, your salary is probably 2,000 or maybe $3,000. How would you react? You feel like $1,000? Where am I going to get money? In fact, you get irritated, you get angry. Where is this coming from? But wait for a moment. If the same bill was just given to a billionaire at the same time, it's like $1,000. I'm not sure what this is for, but well, it's okay. The reaction will be different because he's got a lot of money. He's got a lot of money. $1,000 is nothing. But for you, you work so hard to get whatever you get. So $1,000 is so much. In fact, it's too much. So it triggers you. Get angry. You become impatient if you're not careful. The same way, when we think we're running out of time, it affects our depth, our level of patience. It affects our response to life, to things that life throws at us. And so that's why this issue of timing is very important. Time is a gift. It's a gift that's been given to us. It's the truth. And so how we use it matters. And when we think that we're not using it well, it actually, we become anxious. Let me give you another example. If, for instance, your spouse goes out and comes back and asks you after 3 or 4 hours, I mean, you've been at home all afternoon, what did you do? And you look back and you say, you really haven't done anything. You can't really pinpoint what you used the time for. There's a feeling of emptiness that sets in if you are someone that really likes productivity. But imagine by the time your spouse comes back, you say, okay, I've been able to do this, this, this. You can account for the time. There's this feeling of fulfillment that comes in. So time is a very precious asset. It's a gift. When we don't have it, we tend to become impatient. Or when we perceive that we don't have it, we tend to become impatient. So the question is, how do you use the time that you have? How many persons have you helped today? How many lives have you been able to touch today? What level of, how many acts of kindness have you been able to put out today? Who have you touched using the time that you have? Imagine if today was just if today was the only day you have. After today, you're done. What would you do? What have you done? Have you just sat down to, some people just sit down and watch movies, play games all day. Well, there's nothing wrong in watching movies, nothing wrong in playing games, nothing wrong in, well, everybody, you've got your life and how you want to lead your life is up to you. But the question is, how productive are you using that gift? Remember, how you use a gift shows whether you value the gift or not. But now let me show you why it's important to pay attention to how we use time and how we must have a balanced view of time, especially when it comes to patience, productivity, quality. So it's not always about, I don't have the time. Now, let me flip it a little bit. Sometimes it's not about how short. Sometimes you actually need to wait for things to go full circle. That's how life has been designed. You actually need to wait for things to go full circle for you to get that beautiful, that all-rounded result. Take this for instance. You have maybe a family member, a relative that you've taken to the hospital. And for whatever reason, the person is supposed to undergo a surgical operation. And then the doctor comes out and says, well, you know what? The operation is going to take 6 hours. Six, and then you respond 6 hours? This must be really complex. And the doctor says, yes, it's a complicated operation. So we're going to take our time and make sure we deliver. Whoa. And then you sit in the waiting area and waiting. Remember, you do not have the time. You think 6 hours is too long. You don't have the time. You probably have somewhere else you want to go, something else you want to do, but you want to be sure that this person is fine. This person means so much to you. Now, an hour, 30 minutes after, the doctor comes out and says, hey, doctor, what's up? What's up? What's happening? And doctor says, we're done. You're done? But he told me 6 hours. And doctor says, yes, 6 hours, but you know what? I did everything I can to make sure we get it done in an hour, 30 minutes, because I have a date with my fiance and I really need to be there. I can't keep her waiting. What? How are you going to respond? Now, you are this person that says 6 hours is too long, but well, I have to wait. Even if I really have something else I wanted to do. But now he comes out and an hour, 30 minutes after he's done. Are you sure? You know, something inside of you is going to tell you, I'm sure he did a shoddy job. I'm sure we're going to come back here sooner or later. I don't think he did this well. You're going to think about a billion things. A moment ago, you were saying 6 hours is too long. A few moments after, oh, you should have spent 6 hours. Take your time to make sure this is done. You see, I don't know if this story really sinks, but at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is that when we talk about having time or not having time, it's relative. See, sometimes you're saying, I don't have the time. I really want to get things done real fast. I want to be productive and all of that. I'm also saying that if you flip the coin, sometimes in life, you need to allow time to run full circle. That's when you get the result that you need. Like I said before in one of my videos, it's like someone who plants. There's a time for planting, there's a time for harvesting. You cannot plant today and harvest tomorrow. And so even in your journey, as you grow as a person, as I grow as a person, as we all grow as a person, time is needed for us to mature, for us to grow. I'll tell you a story. At 21, I met my father, and I told my father, I met a girl, and then I told my father, this is a real life story, and I told my father, I said I wanted to get married. And my father, as blunt as he could be at a point in time, he just looked at me and said, we're not having this conversation again. I don't want to hear you talk about it. Trust an African father. Very firm. But I felt bad and all of that because I was working and I felt, well, I just wanted to start life and all that. Fast forward years after, yeah, I got married but to a different woman, but fast forward years after, I wouldn't have married the girl I told my father I wanted to get married to. Why? She's not, I'm not judging her, she's not a bad person, but our values changed. I was here and she was here. So even when years after I said, oh, I don't think I would have been able to cope with this. But at that age, at that young age, I was carried away. I wasn't ready. My father saw it. I'm not saying 21 is too young to get married. People get married far younger ages. But my father looked at me and he said, now you're not ready. Yeah, we went back and we said, no, we're not having this conversation again. So by the time happened, I grew. It may not be a perfect story. Don't look at the story, look at the lesson. The lesson here is that many times in life, we've got to wait for time to go full circle. Whether it's in your career, whether it's in your relationship, whether it's in your marriage, whether it's in your spiritual life, in your financial life, in your economic life. Sometimes you need time to grow. You need time to learn. In fact, life is going to push you to learn. If you miss the lesson, life is going to push you back to that place in a different form because you've got to pick that lesson. You've got to pick that wisdom, that ounce of wisdom. And so I hope this somehow, since I've said a couple of stories, just pick what works for you and understand. So I've talked about we using time well because it's a gift. Be productive. Always ask yourself, who am I touching? How am I using the time that I have? The other bit is learn to be patient when it calls for patience, because sometimes we need time to run full circle for us to get the full result of what we're looking for. If we short circuit, we would get a result, but probably not the result that we're looking for, not the desired result we're looking for. Now, this makes sense to you. Please share this video with people. Give us thumbs up, like the video, comment. If there's any subject you'd like us to talk about, share this and recommend this channel, and also subscribe to our channel. My name is Stallone-Obaraemi Samuel. My sincere desire for you, my friend, is that you go on succeeding by becoming a better version of yourself. Until I come your way again, please go on succeeding, and bye for now.